Dave McClure is the founder of the seed fund and incubator called 500 Startups, and I really enjoyed your recent post on this.
You were able to read my post without all the four-letter words on it?
You're known for your colorful language, as you point out. Why is your way, spray and pray, better than the VC way?
Well, let's just clarify. It may be spray because we do a lot of investments. It's certainly not pray. And I would argue that for most venture capital, it's not easy. Most things fail. And because things fail, you want to have a relatively broad strategy, at least initially, to see what's working. And then once you see what's working, then you double down and invest in that as things go forward. So we may start with a lot of companies. We actually end up with a reasonable amount of companies. I think most VCs start with too few companies and end up with 0 big wins.
So you're a little more direct about this in your blog, so I knew that was going to happen, and I pulled a quote. You write, "You're just jealous because my job is more fun than yours, and in general, you suck at yours." Whereas I actually have been both a programmer and a marketer for more than 10 years each, and sort of know what the hell I'm doing. And it's cable, so I can say all of that.
Exactly, great. Yeah, well, I mean, look, there's a lot of VCs that I respect and work with pretty regular, so I'm not disparaging everybody in that category. But I think a lot of what's changed in the last 10 years is, at least at the seed level, most investors are becoming more, people who have been operators, people who have been entrepreneurs, people who have been technologists.
And this is the term of value-added investing.
Yeah, well,
right?
I think at the earliest stages, value-added means product and marketing, and engineering and design and marketing skills are kind of like the areas that the people I've hired and the background that I came from. Maybe not design, if you've seen my blog, but at least engineering and marketing skills.
On the other hand, though, not all VCs are the same.
Absolutely.
And they all have different strategies,
Lots
and some of them
ones.
are more focused than others.
Right. Yeah, but I think particularly when you're operating at early stage, the failure rate is so high that I think unless you're doing more like 25, 50, or even higher number of investments per year, you're not going to see enough successes to make that strategy work in the long run.
So do you think the angel investing kind of model is going to become more prominent?
Well, I think so because there's a lot of efficiency that's happened in the system over the last 10 years. So whereas 10 years ago you needed $5 million to get a company off the ground for buying servers, buying software, buying bandwidth, maybe expensive salespeople. Now, at least for consumer and small business services, it's mostly services in the cloud. Product development can be done in a matter of months. So it's very efficient to build these companies on maybe only $50,000 to $500,000 to start. And customer acquisition is a lot easier, at least via online platforms like Facebook, Twitter, and Google. So it's also much cheaper and faster to get customers now on a lot of these platforms as well.
But is it also because of what you called last time nosebleed valuations? It's just getting more expensive.
Well, I mean, I think because people are seeing potential for very large IPOs, and Facebook maybe in the wings. LinkedIn did very well recently. Those people are sort of getting a little greedy now again, and
what's new?
What's new? Yeah, well, there's a lot of motivations in the world, but usually seeing exits, people start accelerating their investment activity.
Do you see any potential, though, for the angel model to become problematic? When you have a company like Kevin Rose, founder of Dig, very well-respected entrepreneur, he's got 20-plus angel investors in his next venture, Milk. Couldn't that get a little complicated?
So I think, the one thing that might be a problem when you have lots of angel investors is that nobody's driving or nobody's leading. So I do think that it's useful to have different sized investors, so at least somebody takes responsibility, accountability for those investments.
What's the actual relationship between the angel investors? I mean, how much interaction do you have with the other guys involved?
Well, aside from having clandestine dinners where we basically figure out how to over YC companies and other people.
Beep, beep, beep.
Sorry. Okay, that was one. In general, most of the angel community works together, and even the angel and VC community works together. Where I think it gets contentious is there's a lot of people chasing, the hottest deals lately. And as the check size for investors gets, from 250 maybe up to 500,000, certainly at $1 million, then it's harder to fit multiple investors into one round, and then the elbows start getting a little sharper. We're kind of the little so we really only write small checks. Hopefully, for the most part, people will let us into their round, and we try and be at least friendly off camera, even if we're being offensive on camera.
Technical foul, yes. I always like to ask people, what they think is the next big thing. You talked about in your latest post, AngelList. In fact, you said it's the single greatest innovation in our industry in the last 5 years, next to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Isn't it just another social network, though?
Well, it is another social network, but primarily for investors. The prior innovation that I was talking about from 5 years ago, I think, was Paul Graham and Y Combinator. Incubator programs like Y Combinator and Techstars, a lot of those things are how we've taken some ideas at 500 startups. I think AngelList is taking the ideas from Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter and Quora and making it a specific community for angel investors and VCs as well. And Naval and Nivi are two of the smartest guys in the Valley getting that stuff off the ground.
All right, Dave McClure of 500 Startups. You didn't disappoint us. Next time, we'll hear 5 profanities, I'm sure. All right.
Only 2? I think only 2.
I know, just 2. It's a little disappointing. Thanks so much for joining us.